want you. It's not a secret I try to hide, but I can't have you. We're bound to break in, my hands are tied.
You know I want you. It's not a secret I try to hide. I know you want me, so don't keep saying our hands are tied. You claim it's not in the cards, fate is pulling you miles away and out of reach from me. But you're here in my heart, so it can't stop me if I decide that you're my destiny. What if we rewrite the stars? Say you were made to be mine. Nothing could keep us apart. You'll be the one I was meant to find. It's up to you, and it's up to me. No one can say what we get to be. So why don't we rewrite the stars? Maybe the world could be ours tonight.
You think it's easy, you think I don't wanna run to you, but there are mountains, and there are those that we can't walk through. I know you're wondering why, because you're able to be just you and me within these bars. But when we go outside, you're gonna wake up and see that it was hopeless after all. No one can rewrite the stars. How can you say you'll be mine? And everything keeps us apart, and I'm not the one you're meant to find. It's not up to you, it's not up to me. When everyone tells us what we can be, how can we rewrite the stars? Say that the world.
화려한 불빛, 심장을 울리는 소음도 도시의 비트가 되고, 복잡한 거리 속 눈부신 네온 사인이 날 향해 스포트라이트 비춰오며, 텅 빈 무대가 되는 도시, 요동치는 heartbeat 벅차올라. I'm feeling good.
what is the story behind this image? It was taken in Berlin on 14 July 1930 when science and culture came together. This image was clicked when Einstein welcomed Tagore in his house in the suburbs of Berlin. Their conversation danced between science, spirituality, consciousness, and philosophy in the context of human existence. The talk was later published in Science and the Indian Tradition when Einstein met Tagore by David L. Gosling. Now here's a lesser known fact. Einstein had a genuine curiosity and deep respect for Tagore. In fact, Einstein
What is the
even
story
addressed
behind
Tagore
this?
as a rabbi.
That my mission is to urge for a worldwide commerce of heart and mind, sympathy and understanding, and never to allow this sublime opportunity to be sold in the slave market.
Though these Nobel laureates belonged to very different cultures and represented different fields of expertise, they were both joined by their common faith in humanity.
Five things you need to know.
Social distancing needs to be our way of life until our authorities notify us otherwise. Google has been telling us to stay more than 3 feet apart, feel sick, stay home. And the last step is what social distancing is. Stay home. Isolating yourself and avoiding public gatherings is a big step in the course of tracking and treating coronavirus. On average, the number of patients are doubling every 7 days. The internet is right. For the first time, we are saving the world by sitting in front of our televisions. But containing and separating yourself inside a house from the society may affect us both physically and psychologically. As per the experts from the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, here are 5 recommendations to keep you safe and sane while the world wants you to be home alone. Maintain a routine. It will help you to be in touch with the passing time and keep your bio clock functioning. Exercise at home. All social distancing and no play makes Jill and Jack a couch potato. Include exercise in your routine and stay healthy. Since you have no excuses anymore and a lot of time, pick up that guitar, read that book, or bake that cake you always tell everyone about. You got time? Use it. Check on the people in your contact list. It might be a good time to talk to friends and family and ask them about their well-being. Social distancing does not mean social isolation. Don't panic. Keep yourself engaged and do keep communicating with others. All the governments across the world are working relentlessly to contain this outbreak, and you need to help them. And people are innovating new ways and technologies to help you. Stay
천사 같은 나의 끝은 악마 같은 바위 매번 미칠 듯한 나의 뒤엔 배트하는 pride 이건 답이 없는 test 내부 속도라도 yes 딱한 감정에로 yeah 너로 죽을 사랑해 이거 막히긴 들도 가장 독한 걸로 줘 뻔하디 뻔한 걸 love 전에는 바뀜이 있어 뭐 알아서 매달려 벼랑 끝에 한마디면 또 락해볼래 해 그 따뜻한 떨림이 새벽의 설렘이 마치 해븐 같겠지만 you might not get it in Look at me, look at you 누가 더 아플까 you smile 누가 you are 두 눈에 피는 물 흐르게 된다면 서서 누가 you are 나 어떡해 나 약한 날 견딜 수 없어 애써도 너를 가린 채 사랑의 숨통을 끊어야겠어 Let's kill this love Yeah 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 Woo! Ram-pa-pam-pa-pam-pam-pam Let's kill this love Ram-pa-pam-pa-pam-pam-pam Feeling like a sinner, it's so far whether I ever She said you look crazy, thank you baby, I owe it all to you Me all messed up, her love is my favorite You plus me sadly can be dangerous Look at me, look at you, 결국엔 거친 마음인 lie So what, so what 만약에 내가 널 지우게 된다면 so sorry I'm not sorry 나 어떡해 나 약한 날 견딜 수 없어 애써 눈물을 감춘 채 사랑의 숨통을 끊어야겠어 Let's kill this love
मम्मी पानी आप
We all commit to love that makes you cry. Yeah, we all making love kills you inside.
ले जा
We must kill this love, yeah, he said, but you gotta kill this love before it kills you too. Kill this love, yeah, he said, but you gotta kill this love, gotta kill, let's kill this love.
Anh tôi cũng chưa hoàn mà chạy.
I love it when you moan. Oh, you can make
Thought I ever knew her name, love.
광고주 여러분 주목.
What is your main instrument besides voice? I don't know. Recorder?
Happy New Year, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, so. We couldn't turn around till all upside down. I'll be the bad guy now, but no, I ain't too proud. I couldn't be there, even when I tried. You don't believe it. To the summertime, seasons change and I'll already call. Feed the flame 'cause you can't let it go. Run away, only running in circles. Run away, I dare you to do something. I waited on you again, so I don't take the blame. Run away, only running in circles. Run away, let's go. I got a feeling that it's time to let go. I said so. This was doomed from the get-go. You thought that it was special, but it was just the sex song, and I'm telling it echoes. I got a feeling that it's time to let it go. Let it go. Seasons change and I love it cold. Feel the flame 'cause you can't let it go. Run away,
हेलो जेपी ब्रो अरे जय भाई बहुत टाइम भाई बार तू हजू सब्सक्राइब करे लिखे हमारे चैनल ना
I'm waiting on you again, so I don't take the blame. Run away, only running in circles. Run away, Maybe you don't understand what I'm going through. It's only me.
ઓડિયો ને બધું તો કમ્પ્લીટ છે ને, સ્ટ્રીમની ક્વોલિટી એટલું મંગાઈ દે ને ખાલી જોઈએ. Okay.
What's up, YouTube? It's your boy, just one of the guys down here. Well, I could be more specific. I'm a human and Korean, and just wanted to, you know, for the sake of all of us.
આનો વિડિયો જોરદાર હોય છે બધા.
Just wanted to say.
ઘરે કે હવે તો બંધ ના અત્યારે, હવે 21 દિવસ બંધ છે કેફે. હા ઘેર થઈ ગયા તો પીસી પેલું 4 દિવસનું લોકડાઉન થવાનું હતું કે અઠવાડિયું કે કંઈક, તો એટલે એક પીસી ઘેર લઈ આવ્યો હતો. આ તો પેલું બહુ હાઈ એન્ડ નહીં લાવ્યો, મિડ એન્ડનું લાવ્યો. એટલે બસ અત્યારે ગેમિંગ કરવા લાવ્યો તો પણ નહીં લે આમાં એટલી બધી મજા. કંઈ પેકેટ લોસ બી બહુ આવે છે જીટીપીએલનો, અને શું કહે આમાં શું કહે વોર્ઝોન આવી, વોર્ઝોન રમવી હતી પણ એમાં 16 જીબીની રેમ જોઈએ છે અને આમાં 8 જીબી, એટલે કંઈ એટલી બધી મજા આવતી નહીં. એટલે હવે ગેમ રમતો નહીં, બહુ ટાઈમ પાસ કરી લો બસ. डाउनलोड भी करवानी અત્યારે તો જો ને કશી કઈ ડાઉનલોડ નહીં કરેલી. આ પીસી કઈ છે નહીં, બસ ખાલી વર્ઝન ડાઉનલોડ કરેલી છે.
I hope it's not a simulation. Give each other names like Ahmed and Pedro. And yeah, we like to wear clothes, very still and beautiful. And it covers up our heritage. Did a lot of tears, but these days it's like we don't know how to hack all the shootings, pollution. We under attack on ourselves. Like let's all just chill. Respect what we build. Like look at the internet, it's cracking as hell. Fellas, don't you love to come and you have sex? And I heard women orgasms are better than a dicks. So what we got this land for? What we gotta stand for? Love. And we love the
वर्जन जोरदार है, वर्जन गेम प्ले होता नहीं रिकॉर्ड करेंगे, हमारा बस खाली टेस्ट करवा माटे करेंगे.
Hey Russia, we're cool. Hey Asia, all of you, come on, every one of you from the
આવી ચાલે છે, બહુ FPS નહીં આપતી. મ્યુઝિક નો ના અંદરથી હવે ઓછો રાખ્યો.
team. You've got gas closing.
જો 75-76 FPS આવે છે બી 1070 છે તો બી પણ એમાં પેલું 16 GB રેમ હોય ને તો આવું ના આવે બોટલ નેક બહુ થાય શકે લેગ આવે એ જોઈએ હમણાં લેગ સ્પાઇક્સ બતાવ્યું હતા ને એ રેમના લીધે થાય
Enemy personal radar in the air.
હા ગેમ તો બહુ જોરદાર બનાવી બસ ખાલી પરફોર્મન્સ થોડી હરખી મળતી હોત ને અલ્યા રેમ સ્ટિક લેવા જવું તું મારે કેફે પર પણ ત્યાં આગળ શું કહેવાય રે આ લોકડાઉન લાગી ગયેલું તે અહીંયા ઇન્ફોસિટી તો કોઈ હાલતમાં નહીં જવા દેતા તે લોકડાઉન લાગ્યું એ લાગ્યું પછી કેફે જોવાય નહીં ગયો બાકી એક રેમ ઉઠાઈ આવત બીજા પીસીથી તો 16 GB કરી દેત ને પછી જોરદાર મજા હતા ને એમ GTPLમાં ગજબ પેકેટ લોસ આ જો ખાલી આવી ગયો આટલા પેકેટ લોસમાં હું રમતો હતો અને રમું જ છું રોજ
Enemy personal radar in the air.
જો પેલું સ્પાઇક જોયું ને અને આમ તો કદાચ 30 FPS ઉપર ફ્રેમ થાય છે ગેમ એટલે એટલું બધું પેલું નહીં ખબર પડે 30 પર રેકોર્ડ થાય એટલે કે કેટલી ફ્રેમિંગ થતી હતી ગજબ લેગ આવ્યા કરતા હતા સ્પાઇક જોરદાર થતા હતા એટલે મજા નથી ફાઇટ બતાવો હવે ફાઇટ જ આવશે આ રસ્તો ક્રોસ કરશે નહીં જો આ પેલું જોયું વચ્ચે આખી ફ્રેમ ગાય સ્કીપ થઈ ગઈ એ ત્યારે લેગ આવે તો આપણે આ સ્મૂથ આમાં જેટલી દેખાય તેટલી સ્મૂથ ચાલતી નહીં 30 FPS ના વિડીયો છે ને એટલે બધા સ્મૂથ દેખાય
Enemy personal radar in the air.
જો આ લેગ ના લીધે જો પેલા આ પેકેટ લોસ ના લીધે જો હું મારું જ ક્યાં ક્યાં વાગે છે
Enemy personal radar in the air.
જો જોયું એ બી લેગ બહુ જોરદાર હતો. એ કેમનો મરી ગયો ને કેમ કરતો હતો તો બી તોય મને જ નહીં ખબર. Take my hose.
Yeah, I'm gonna take my horse to the North Town Road. I'm gonna
Ride till I can't no more.
I'm gonna take my horse to the North Town Road. I'm gonna ride till I can't no more. I got the horses in the back, horse that gets attached. Had it smelly black, got the boots that's black to me. Riding on a horse, ha, you can whip your Porsche. I've been in the valley, you ain't beating off the porch. Now can't nobody
Tell me nothing.
You can't tell me nothing. Can't nobody tell me nothing. You can't tell me nothing. Riding on a tractor, lean on in my blazer, cheat on my baby. You can go and ask her. My life is a movie. Who ride it and boobies? Cowboy hat from Gucci, Ranger on my booty. Can't nobody tell me nothing. You can't tell me nothing. Can't nobody tell me nothing. You can't tell me nothing. Yeah, I'm gonna take my horse to the North Town Road. I'm gonna ride till I can't no more. I'm gonna take my horse to the North Town Road. I'm gonna
Ride till I can't no more.
head down, cross town, living like a rock star. Spend a lot of money on my brand new guitar. Baby's got a habit, diamond rings and Fendi sports bras. Riding down Rodeo in my Maserati sports car. God knows stress I've been through all day. I'm like a mad romance, so I keep going back. Wish I could roll on back to that old town road. I wanna ride till I can't no more. I'm gonna take my horse to the North Town Road. I'm gonna ride till I can't no more. I'm gonna take my horse to the North Town Road. I'm gonna ride till I can't no more. She looks good in the morning, and she don't even know it. I don't want you to go yet. Can we stay in the moment? Don't look in the mirror, look into my eyes. When you see your reflection, you see what I like. Oh, you look good in the morning, and you don't even know it. I knew that. I got this feeling for the summer day. You would wear a summer face. I just thought that she could be the one. I got this feeling for the summer day. You would wear a summer face. I just thought that she could be the one. Sundress with you in my arms. Take the cup out the garage. Put the roof back, just me, you and the stars. Toast to the gods. She's the one, the masterpiece. She a drug, got a fast release. Got me sprung, wrapped in a shit. Wake up, fuck, and then we going back to sleep. Me and her on an island with the ocean color stuck in your Irish. We're comfortable in silence, but I prefer it when you're wider. Sundress, nothing underneath as we undress. You can look in my eyes, see I'm so mess. Couple of broken people trying to complete each other under one breath. Don't look in the mirror, look into my eyes. When you see your reflection, you see what I like. Oh, you look good in the morning, and you don't even know it. I got this feeling for the summer day. You would wear a summer face. I just thought that she could be the one. I got this feeling for the summer day. You would wear a summer face. I just thought that she could be the one.
Here I am outside the world of Scatman, witnessing a new phenomenon as people leave with what seems like an ecstatic grin on their face or just a look of pure innocence, which reminds me of a newborn child. Why are you visiting Scatman's world?
Look, man, I'm bored. There's nothing else to do.
If you're looking for a new experience, Scatman's world is the place to go.
Man's World. Everybody's talking something very sharp and just to keep
should we ask questions? This ability is at the root of whole human progress. The ability to ask a question. If there were no questions, we would not have progressed this far, for good or bad. So, every answer is going to condition you a little. A certain kind of conditioning only. Listen to only a certain kind of people. If you want more exposure, listen to everybody. And that would really open you up. As a teacher, or as
I'm a serious gamer,
9 your left. Watch out, watch out.
but I don't play games with my money.
Come, start performing. Start performing, come on. Samara. Make. When is the AIB coming back? सब ठीक चल रहा है आप कॉलेज शोज कर रहे हो मैंने देखा कॉलेज में ऐसा होता है कि शो होने के बाद एक कोई हड्डी सा बंदा आएगा आपके पास कॉलेज का बच्चा आपको जॉइंट मारने की इनविटेशन देगा हाँ सब हाँ अज्यूम क्यों करते हैं कि सारे कॉमेडियंस जेडी होते हैं हाँ करेक्ट आपको तो है फिर क्या करते हो आप जब आता है तो हाँ हाँ वो लेता है कि हाँ मैं बाद में गाड़ी के साथ साथ स्कूटी लेके चलती है तो वो मुझसे शीशा डाउन करा के जबरदस्ती दिखा रहे कि देखो आपके लिए बनाया ले लो हमसे वो तो होटल तक आया मेरे साथ चौबीस में आपको क्या बनता है I just want you for the thumbnail. Okay, can I say they're dating? Let's confuse the internet now. Okay. Ah, that's a good idea.
Oh God, Shumaira, this is not a dance.
मेरे साथ बहुत होता है शो में अगर मैं किसी बंदे की मार लूं और वो शो में 5-7 मिनट उसके लिए मारते हैं कुछ करते रहता हूं हां मुझे शो के बाद रैंडम लोग आके पूछते हैं कि ये आपने ऐसे आप बैठाते हो हर शो में किसी बंदे को ना तो मैंने
क्यों पता नहीं हैकल करे थे शो पूरा सुने वो हाँ पर बॉम्ब हो ना तो
खत्म हो गया ठीक है तो यही बोलना पड़ेगा
लाल दांत वाले बच्चे
को अपने हॉस्टल में रुका है लाल दांत वाले कैसे समझो अरे लाल दांत वाले
हाँ अच्छा वैसा समझ गया हाँ
अपना अपन लगा के बड़े बड़े कुछ कर रहे हैं थैंक यू बोला है तो तुम बोलना ही पड़ेगा आज भी शो में आए तो बाकी दिन तो रेडी में जाते हो
दैट्स ट्रू
यार
Hey, dude!
What? Did you?
Yeah.
How did you clean it? With your finger?
Yeah, I put my nose in the sand. Then I took it up.
Didn't experience.
Dude, when you're 12 years old, I don't think many things should be dirty.
Get closer.
Watch the works.
Don't work.
Experience.
We're discussing first time you watched porn. What the fuck is that in your hand and why is it? Oh my god, is this like some fairy BJP like? टिकट शो में क्राउड वर्क कर लेना। कोई चूतिया बंदा मिला है बता, सबसे फनीस्ट क्या? हाँ क्या हुआ था?
मैंने स्टेज पे जाती बोल दिया, मैंने कहा शो लंबा है, 2 घंटे का शो है, तो तुम किसी को जाना हो तो चले जाना, उठ के लेकिन मिल के जाना, ऐसे बीच में उठ के चलेगा तो बुरा लगता है। अच्छा यहाँ से जाना घूम 10-12 मिनट हुए, शो ठीक ठाक चल रहा है, सबके लोग एकदम से एक बंदे के बारे हाँ जी चल रहा है चले जाओ, उठ के आया यहाँ तक मैंने क्या हुआ कहीं देखा, तो कहता है नहीं हंसने की कोशिश करा, हंसी नहीं आ रही है। तो समझ नहीं आया क्या हुआ, थोड़ी दूर तक वो चला, मैंने उससे बोला कि मैंने सर रिफंड ले जाओ, कम से कम आपको 10-12 मिनट। कह रहा नहीं मैं तो ऑडिटोरियम वाले का दोस्त हूँ, मैंने नहीं दिया। तो ऑडियो न्यूज़ एक बंदा कह रहा था जल्दी से कंप्यूटर वाला टाइम नहीं हो रहा। कब तुमसे बेइज्जती के बारे में मैं क्या करूँ?
Beat up child. It is good only, except there is one nose.
He looks really good. I mean, this suits him better than Kanan.
Yes! Should we do an improv scene?
Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
Papa. Papa, I want to be a ballerina. I don't want to be an accountant, Papa.
आकाश मेहता है क्या पीछे?
Papa.
I mean, this suits.
Should we do an improv scene?
आकाश ने
Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
Papa. You know,
You don't want to be accountant?
no, Papa.
Okay, then how are you going to eat?
I don't make money dancing, Papa.
There is no money in dancing. You know, when I was your age, I wanted to be a dancer also.
Cut to when he was my age. I want to be a dancer. Then dance better, not better, not. Paisa no, nobody's giving me money. Take money better. It's a change money. I want real money.
Yeah, so that happened.
दिल्ली वाले शो में 2 साल के बीच शो में उठ के जा रहे, मैंने कहा जा रहे हो, कह रहे हमने बहुत फूक रखा था, हमारा गला सूख रहा है, तो जा कर रहे हो, कहते पानी पी जल्दी पी के आओ। वहाँ तक गया है, वापस आया स्टेज पे, 500 लोग गाने ऑडिटोरियम में बैठे, वहाँ स्टेज पे आया मेरे पास, मेरी बोतल रखी कर मुझे पानी दे दो। मैंने उसे पानी दिया, 2 लड़के थे,
मुझे ओपन करना है आपके लिए। बस सर मुझे तो अभी ओपन करना है, मुझे देखना है।
अच्छा मेरे शो
गांजा मार के आप स्टेज पे गए हो कभी? नहीं गए हो?
पी के गए, वो मार के नहीं गए।
अच्छा क्या है फर्क पड़ता है सोबर और पी के जाने में?
पी के अगले दिन पता चलता है क्या हुआ दोस्तों। पियानो मैन में ओपन माइक किया था हमने, बस मानिक का फोन आया कि ओपन माइक होस्ट कर ले, मैं आ नहीं पाऊंगा, और हम पी रहे थे, मैं गुप्ता गौरव कपूर, तो उन दोनों का स्पॉट भी नहीं था, उन्होंने मांग लिया स्पॉट, फिर हम तीनों चले गए। मैं होस्ट करने गया, फिर गौरव गुप्ता गया, गौरव कपूर गया, तीनों ने जाके वहाँ जो किया है ना, वो बस हमें अगले दिन ही पता चला है कि एक ने ओवर टाइम किया है, गौरव कपूर ने माफी मांगी है कि मुझसे गलती हो गई, मैं गुप्ता ने कह दिया मैं आज उतरूंगा नहीं, ओपन माइक चल रहा। मैंने किसी लड़के को ऊपर से बुला के लाया था कि नीचे आओ, लड़के ने कहा कि यार मैं बिग फैन हूं, आओ नीचे तुम्हें शो दिखाते हैं, और फिर उससे मैंने कोई बात करी, उसने कुछ बोला, मैंने कहा बहुत चूतिया निकला, सब अगले दिन पता चला कुछ नहीं किया।
Vlog police, you're under arrest for vlogging. Okay, vlog police.
एक तो लास्ट रिपोर्ट है जाना है, तो 2 लड़कों ने आकर मुझे उठाया ऊपर, मुझसे कह रहे भाई तुझे हम बिग बॉस बनाएंगे, जिताएंगे नहीं वो।
नॉर्थ में सबके पास कांटेक्ट है ना, तुम बनाए
तो इतनी बेइज्जती हुई है ना द्वारका वाले शो में, स्टेज पे आया लड़का वेटर को साथ लेके, स्टेज पे चढ़ा है, मेरे ऊपर 500 का नोट, जेब में वेटर की जेब में रखकर चला।
I think Bassi will be the first comic to die in celebratory firing in Shark Tank.
dancers के लिए why are you performing here but you are famous
तेरे साथ ही क्यों हो रहा है यार ये?
पब्लिक शो हो रहा है मेरे ये मेरे पब्लिक शो में बाद में था कैसा टिकट लेके आया सर 600 लोग बिठा रखे
सर यार टिकट का प्राइस बढ़ाने का वक्त आ गया सर आई थिंक अगर जनता 2000 रुपए देके आएगी ना एक्चुअली प्रेशर बढ़ जाएगा
क्या बढ़ाना है सर जब उसने 800 का टिकट लिया 500 मेरे ऊपर मार के चला गया इसका बहुत पैसा है
अच्छा पैसे की कमी नहीं
ये तो टाइम लगेगा फिर आप तो ये बोल रहे हो कि अब तुम 15 साल बाद करना नहीं कर पाऊंगा
आपके साथ ही क्यों होता है सब?
मेरे साथ ही क्यों होता है
हाँ
पता नहीं सर वो उधर को जहाँ इनकी वीडियो जानी चाहिए थी वहाँ चली गई मेरी
No philosophy of life. I have life itself. There are people who have philosophies of life, but they don't have any life.
Your philosophy, if there is one, has been expressed in the 3 L's: love, life, laughter. Is that a philosophy of life?
No.
What, you explain that?
It is just a consequence of being silent and in tune with existence. Love arises in you. Life becomes abundant. Laughter for no reason. Just because this whole existence is so hilarious. This is not philosophy. This is the consequence of being silent.
Is it to enjoy life and not worry about tomorrow?
There is no tomorrow. If there is tomorrow, you cannot stop worrying about it. Tomorrow never comes. It is a process of worrying. Neither there is any yesterday. Our hands is the present moment.
Wanted characters, Mr. Nawazuddin Siddiqui. Sir, namaste.
सर नमस्ते।
तो कैसा लग रहा है आपको हमारे गार्डन अड्डे में आके?
ना आपका अड्डा है तो अच्छा लगेगा।
ऑफ कोर्स, राइट आंसर। सर हमने ये सुना है कि आप दिन में एक्टिंग करते हैं लेकिन रात को आप गैंगस्टर है, क्या ये सच है?
नहीं, जब रात को शूटिंग होती है तो गैंगस्टर दिन में शिफ्ट कर देता हूँ।
अच्छा सर, वेरी नाइस। गैंगस्टर वाला सिलसिला कैसे चालू हुआ?
वासेपुर से चालू हुआ।
What I really like about that is कि वो गैंगस्टर है, लोगों को मर्डर कर रहा है, but you still are in love with the character. तो how do you get into that mode कि आप कैसे प्ले करते हैं?
मैंने ये सोच के किया नहीं कि वो गैंगस्टर है, मैंने सोचा एक रोमांटिक आदमी है, तो रोमांस किसी भी चीज से हो सकता है, ब्लड से भी हो सकता है, गन से भी हो सकता है।
तो वो मर्डर से प्यार करता है?
हाँ, तो प्यार करता है, प्यार करना बहुत जरूरी है इस दुनिया में।
मतलब फैजल ब्लड से प्यार करता है is what sir said. फैजल, आपके लाइफ में क्या असर पड़ा फैजल प्ले करने का?
असर तो बहुत पड़ा, कुछ गंदी आदतें पड़ गई मेरे अंदर।
ओके।
मतलब जैसे बदला लेने की। अभी जैसे मैं यहाँ बैठा हूँ तो यहाँ पे भी अंदर से मेरा आता है कि मैं बदला लूँ।
ओके।
हाँ, तो थोड़ा ख्याल रखिएगा, अगर आपने गलत सवाल किए मेरे से तो आपसे, राइटर से, ये जो डायरेक्टर कहाँ है, हाँ
वो है
सबसे मैं बदला लेने की कोशिश करूँगा, ये आता है मेरे अंदर।
ओके।
रोक रहा हूँ मैं अपने आपको।
ठीक है, हम ध्यान रखेंगे इस बात का। सर आपने फैजल प्ले किया है, आपने बहुत सारे गैंग
Do you want to learn how to hack into systems as an ethical hacker? Check this. I've used
Focus, Lindsay, focus.
Right here. There's two on me. Bro, I can't aim. I got bloodhounds. There's one on you. Oh wait, one's right here. There's one more. Oh he actually held that. I got them all.
N Pro 2 PG N Pro 2
Oh, the guy's up there.
Got him.
Oh my goodness.
Same, okay. HyperX Cloud Alpha.
Blind read, blind. Lifeline 20.
I give you. Lifeline's 1 HP.
The Hound.
Nice. More from where we came.
We saved 85.
I'm a serious gamer.
Nine your left.
Watch out.
Can I have the wingman, please? You can have everything else. Alright, dickhead. Oh. Man, I never get armor. I swear I never get armor. I got an alternator.
Enemy taken out. Taking damage.
Fuck.
Recharging my shields. Getting shot at. Enemy down. Recharging my... Whole squad down. Getting shot at. Picked up our teammate's banner. Recharging my shield. Recharging my shields.
What place?
I don't know how to fight here.
Get closer.
It still works. Still works.
Okay, there's two teams. That's not okay. Okay. 100-point Herald. You let that chopper sting on me, my guy. Jesus Christ, you went nuts with that thing. Oh.
The champion made a poor choice. Reloading. Contact with hostile. Enemy down. Another enemy down. Reload. Hostile close. Hostile spotted. Last member's down. One squad closer to winning.
He down? I think he's down. Hello? You too tall? You didn't see me or something? Oh, I didn't even get the shotgun ammo. Oh, hey, we can work together, dickhead.
Only 10 seconds left.
We got truce? We got truce? I think we got a truce. Nope, we don't got a truce. Alright, I'm done.
I'm taking shots. Need to recharge my shields.
One died his zone. I should have both my guns. Oh, he died his zone.
Whole squad down. Catching myself up.
Alright.
Patching myself up.
Double before it. He dead slided and it helped him. I have no heavy ammo. Fuck, dude, I'm down bad.
I downed an enemy. Another enemy downed. Need to recharge my shields. Healing up. Eyes are open though. An enemy.
I don't know what to shoot.
Frag out.
That's not far enough. That one should be far enough. Not far enough.
10 seconds.
Trolling.
Rings close.
I need heavy ammo. Where'd the hound go? Is this the same game that I killed the team right here? I honestly can't remember. It is? Oh wait, this one could be content. Alright, let's not throw. Oh, well, that boy caught a ride. Hit the Uber Express. Gee, okay. What's up, dude? Remember me, buddy? Oh, wait, we're in the zone, you idiot. You're trying to get me killed.
Need to recharge my shield.
The Uber freight. Oh, they got the charge rifle. They're hard camping the height. Oh no.
Boah. Heftig. Oh.
I missed my one nade. Have another zip that goes up. This is miserable. I don't even want to win. I have to wait.
This is Tyler. Tyler, with Grammarly's help, is writing an email to his boss, Anita.
Wait like 2 more zones for them to come down. I think I'm gonna be out of meds. They have a Mastiff. Alright, I'm gonna punch you. Wait, crawl over here. Over here. Here! Over here! Friend, please! I can't change what's my bind? Oh fuck. I didn't know I pushed it lucky. Oh, well, what do you got? Do you have nades? You don't have nades? Maybe we can bleed their meds dry. It's a war of attrition now. Surrender. You win. Alright, Muffin, if I do end up killing them, cut all this shit out. Just this whole entire section, just yoid it, yink it, yide it, yeet it, there we go. That's not a headshot. Did you smoke us? his gold bag. No, I'm stuck on something. I'm stuck on these fucking barrels behind me. Jesus, dude. These people... and I'm not gonna say it. I just wanna see my damage. 5,300. That's crazy.
मैं रिसेंटली मैं उधर गया, एक लड़का था स्टेज पे, उसका नाम था मंगेश. I know this because he said, "Yo, my name is Mangesh," and I had no reason not to trust him. And he's dressed also full on like he's dressed like a rapper, you know. Loose उसने पैंट पहनी हुई है, गहने पहने हुए हैं, ट्रिपल XL की टी-शर्ट. इतना गुस्सा आता है मुझे ना. I'm like, तुम्हारी वजह से साइज नहीं मिल रहा, ठीक है, दुकान में. यहाँ पे मुझे ढूंढना पड़ रहा है. यार मुझे पता है तेरे आर्ट फॉर्म के लिए जरूरी है यार, पर मैं नंगा घूमूं क्या? लोग सवाल पूछते, सर पागल हो गए हो क्या? नहीं, हिप हॉप बहुत हो रहा है आजकल, है ना. क्रेज काफी आ गया हिप हॉप का, तो ऐसे घूमना पड़ता है. Now I'm at this open mic, all right. Mangesh is on stage, being watched by an audience that was comprised of audience members and fellow Mangai. और उसका जो गाना है, उससे मालूम पड़ रहा है कि किसी लड़की ने इसको छोड़ा है, for very valid reasons. His song was something like, "Why you break my heart, bitch? Why you break my soul? Why you go away, bitch? Bol, साली बोल." मंगेश, मुझे कुछ साफ कारण नजर आ रहे हैं दोस्त, उसके छोड़ के चले जाने के, है ना. I don't know तुम्हारे पास समय कितना है मंगेश, पर अगर हो 2 पल तो बैठना जरा. बहुत शुरुआत से शुरू करना पड़ेगा बालक. You my mind was amateur शो था, पर इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि सभी फुद्दू थे. कुछ लोग हमेशा होते ढंग के, कुछ लोग आए अपनी भाषा में रैप किए, अपने प्रॉब्लम्स के बारे में रैप किए. ये नहीं, अरे ये देख लड़की, ये देख वो, nothing misogynistic, nothing, just real issues that they were facing in their lives. I really enjoyed that. But there were a lot of rappers जो डिसाइड ही नहीं कर पा रहे थे कि वो हैं कौन. लाइक खुद ही का पता नहीं है उन्हें. He's dressed like a rapper, you know. Loose उसने पैंट पहनी हुई है, गहने पहने हुए हैं, ट्रिपल XL की टी-शर्ट. इतना गुस्सा आता है मुझे ना. I'm like, तुम्हारी वजह से साइज नहीं मिल रहा, ठीक है, दुकान में. यहाँ पे मुझे ढूंढना पड़ रहा है. यार मुझे पता है तेरे आर्ट फॉर्म के लिए जरूरी है यार, पर मैं नंगा घूमूं क्या? लोग सवाल पूछते, सर पागल हो गए हो क्या? नहीं, हिप हॉप बहुत हो रहा है आजकल, है ना. क्रेज काफी आ गया हिप हॉप का, तो ऐसे घूमना पड़ता है. Now I'm at this open mic, all right. Mangesh is on stage, being watched by an audience that was comprised of audience members and fellow Mangai. और उसका जो गाना है, उससे मालूम पड़ रहा है कि किसी लड़की ने इसको छोड़ा है, for very valid reasons. His song was something like, "Why you break my heart, bitch? Why you break my soul? Why you go away, bitch? Bol, साली बोल." मंगेश, मुझे कुछ साफ कारण नजर आ रहे हैं दोस्त, उसके छोड़ के चले जाने के, है ना? I don't know तुम्हारे पास समय कितना है मंगेश, पर अगर हो 2 पल तो बैठना जरा। बहुत शुरुआत से शुरू करना पड़ेगा बालक। What blew my mind was, देखो amateur शो था, पर इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि सभी फुद्दू थे। कुछ लोग हमेशा होते ढंग के, कुछ लोग आए अपनी भाषा में रैप किए, अपने प्रॉब्लम्स के बारे में रैप किए, ये नहीं अरे ये देख लड़की, ये देख वो, nothing misogynistic, nothing, just real issues that they were facing in their lives. I really enjoyed that. But there were a lot of rappers जो डिसाइड ही नहीं कर पा रहे थे कि वो हैं कौन, लाइक खुद ही का पता नहीं है उन्हें। गाने के शुरुआत में वो अंग्रेज है, गाना शुरू होते ही वो बंटाए हो जाते हैं। This is how it used to be. The song starts with like, hey yo, it's 2019, yo. Hey yo, it's 2019, do you know what I mean? I'm like, नहीं ये वाला बहुत टफ है दोस्त, थोड़ा इजी में समझाना यार, ऐसा क्या हार्ड वाला दे रहा है यार ऐसा। I mean, I'm like, नहीं ये वाला बहुत टफ है दोस्त, थोड़ा इजी में समझाना यार, ऐसा क्या हार्ड वाला दे रहा है यार ऐसा। Hey yo, it's 2019, yo. Do you know what I mean, yo? Pune East Coast. क्या? Pune East Coast? Do you know what a coast is? तुझे पता है ना, एक तरफ पानी चाहिए होता है दोस्त, किधर भी कोस्ट नहीं बना सकते प्रोफेशनल अनपढ़। You can't just be like, आज भोपाल ईस्ट कोस्ट बोल के आऊंगा, वैसे नहीं, नक्शा देख ले गधे। गाने की शुरुआत में अंग्रेज, गाना शुरू होते ही बंटा है वापस। गाने की शुरुआत में दिल लगे, hey yo, 2019, do you know what I mean? Pune East Coast, let's drop this beat. बैठा था मैं चाली में, वहाँ पे खाया गाली में, बाप मेरा माल। I'm like, तू एक बंदा रहना यार, तू 2 आदमी कैसे? Just fucking pick one guy. Look, I say this with genuine appreciation for hip-hop. I say this with genuine appreciation for good hip-hop, you know? But still, there was a hip-hop fan after a show once, this guy who got mad at me. आ गया मेरे पास शो के बाद, he's like, how can you, तू कैसे बोल सकता है रैपर्स के बारे में? तुझे पता है उनकी लाइफ में कितनी स्ट्रगल है? तुझे पता है यो-यो हनी सिंह के पेरेंट्स ने उसके करियर के शुरुआत में उसको सपोर्ट नहीं किया। I was like, अच्छा? क्यों करेंगे यार? तब वो एक शो के 25 लाख रुपए नहीं कमा रहा था, तब वो चाट मेरे टट्टे जैसे आलू का पकौड़ा खा रहा था, ठीक है? उसके माँ बाप क्या समाज में आके छाती पीटेंगे? हाँ, ये हमारा लड़का है यार, ये हमारा लड़का है, ये ओ ये हीरा, ओ हो। गीतकार, संगीतकार, लेखक, गीत का नाम चूस मेरा लौड़ा। वाह बेटा, वाह, गर्व से छाती फूली जा रही है हमारी, है ना? पता है साइंस कर रहा था ये, हमने छुड़वाया। हमने कहा म्यूजिक को तुम्हारी जरूरत है, समाज में गंद फैलाओ, औरतें बहुत सेफ फील कर रही है, कुछ करो हनी।
You ever had just oh you gotta pee? Oh, you what? Oh no, I'm okay. Yeah, I'm good. Thank you. Bye. It's the most. That was the most Canadian shit I've ever seen. I'm in the middle of a joke and he's like, "We're gonna take off, but we're gonna. Do you want something to drink?" We are so sorry. We're parched. Do you want something, bud? It was just so polite. He rested his arms on the top like a kid at the zoo. He's like, I'll wait. No, just wait till he comes. Oh, he's coming. Hey, we're gonna go. Our car is in the middle of the street right now. You like massage my calf. You're like, hey, you're doing great. But wine is better. So, most people wouldn't say shit. They would duck under, but he made a point.
And they started looking for appropriate bodies upon which this body of a super teacher can be imposed upon. So people gathered around him, enormous wisdom and sense. So Khalil Gibran said about J. Krishnamurti, when I walked into the room, just those 5 Saturday afternoons, an hour and a half, that much impact he had on me. He was born and where he lived. A century-old house, a cute little house, a nice place. It's kept like a monument for him today. At one time in early 20th century and late 19th century, theosophy spread across the world in a big way. This was started by Madame Blavatsky, who had a great interest in occult and mysticism, and she spent late 19th century and early 20th century saw a lot of British and other European seekers of mysticism traveling to India and exploring, writing lots of books, many of them, you know. Max Muller, Paul Brunton and many others. Blavatsky was even before them. These are all explorers of mysticism. It was in those days not like going to some place to learn, it was an adventure that you really have to take off on a horseback and go to a strange country, battle all kinds of things, try to meet the right kind of gurus, and it was a whole adventure. So they put themselves through all this. Madame Blavatsky traveled to all kinds of places. She went to Tibet, she went to India, and then she came down to Tamil Nadu and set up the Theosophical Society out there, which still is there. And then their dream became to produce a perfect being project. Then they unearthed this information. I don't know to what extent they went, but actually in the yogic lore, in the tradition, there was a yogi by the name Sunira. Sunira saw that human consciousness could be evolved if you produce a perfect human being who could render this to all sorts of people. In a way, he comes from the tradition of Shiva, somewhere it's his dream to build another being like that. He wants to build a living Shiva once again, a perfect teacher for the world, who is completely multidimensional, not this kind of teaching or that kind of teaching. As Shiva explored the whole human consciousness and human body in every possible way, he wants that kind of a living being. So he started building an energy body for that kind, and then he believed that he could build a physical body on top of that and let him loose in the world. With a lifespan of a few hundred or thousand years, so that he will transform the whole world by the time his time is done. So he started working on this project. And of course he died unfulfilled. Many ambitious yogis picked up the same project that Sunira had left and tried to reconstruct this energy body of a perfect teacher who can transform human consciousness. So, Madame Blavatsky, Leadbeater and Annie Besant, who came together to power this theosophy movement across the world, which they successfully did to a large extent, and they gathered the most phenomenal occult library on the planet is still in the Theosophical Society of India. They gathered every kind of book on occult, and they set up a whole study team. Even now, J. Krishnamurti's groups are called study groups, yes? Study circles or study groups, and say because these study groups were set up by Annie Besant and Leadbeater. These are brilliant intellects, no question about that. But they have no inner experience, but they have gathered phenomenal amount of information. So somewhere they believe with this information and with their intelligence and intellect they can recreate all this. And they started looking for appropriate bodies upon which this body of a super teacher can be imposed upon. Jiddu Krishnamurti, Rukmini Arundale, who else? One more, whatever. They started putting them through very serious training, prepare them physically, mentally, but they have no inner experience. Begins. They're reading books and trying to do this to these boys. And they put JK in all kinds of meditative processes, and he attained to a certain level of… he became a fantastic human being. He was something that nobody could decipher, but he was like a flower. His fragrance could not be missed. Then they decided, when JK was about 27, 20 years of age, 27 or 28 years of age, this Theosophical Society decided to announce to the world that he is the world teacher. The perfect teacher has come. People gathered with great interest in this. JK came on the podium and he said, "I am not a world teacher." Poof! The whole Theosophical Society and their project, everything went down the tube. He had the courage and the sense and the wisdom to say, "I am not." Most idiots would have said, "Yes, I am the world teacher, I am the reincarnation of Buddha and Jesus and everything." Most idiots would have done that. he had the sense and the wisdom and the vision to say that I am not this nonsense that they're trying to make me out of. And J.K. came out of Theosophy and he started speaking. He's a brilliant speaker. So people gathered around him, enormous wisdom and sense. So when he spoke, people sat rapt. Quite magical, the way he speaks. You know, somebody was talking to me, when I was just 17, 18 years of age, someone was talking to me, J.K. study circles, it was fashionable. For all those people who think they're intellectual, you have to read J.K., you have to listen to J.K.'s audios, otherwise you're not intellectual enough. In the Indian intelligentsia, if you have not read J.K., Kierkegaard and Dostoevsky, you have no brain actually. That's how it's treated. So it's like fashion. For everybody, they should have read this, whether they get it or they don't get it. You read Dostoevsky, you read Kierkegaard, you read J. Krishnamurti, means you got some brain working. That's a gauge. So people were talking, JK, he's something every Saturday afternoon. They have a study circle where they play some audio tapes and his books are there and things. Some of my friends invited me and I went. So they were playing a short video. The man was sitting like this. This is the first time I'm seeing him, the first time I'm listening to him. He was still alive at that time. Just the integrity of the person is spilling all over him. Just the sheer integrity of the man cannot be missed. So, I didn't do much reading, I heard a few audios and watched a few videos. I enjoyed him, but I was too wild to listen to anybody. I had no time for anything. Life was calling me all the time. So I had no time to listen to my parents or my teachers or JK or IJ or XYZ, you know. I had no time for anything, so I left the study circle and went on. Maybe I attended this for about 5 weeks, I remember very well. It was about 5 weekends I went there, every Saturday afternoon, just for about an hour and a half. They would play 1.5 an hour video or audio, and then they'll all get into discussion and one big confusion. Because nobody around him understood what he's talking about. Because he refuses to use any method, he refuses to use any example, he refuses to use any parable, any story, any joke or anything. This is just intellectual dissection. This is called as Gnana Marga. This is pure Gnana Marga. Gnana means the way of the intellect. Out of these 7 billion people, if you find 10,000 people who have that kind of a razor-sharp intellect, who can, without any kind of context, they can go on slicing things, you will not even find I don't think you'll find 10,000. Maybe you'll find 1,000 people. And those 1,000 people may not be interested in the spiritual process. They may be trying to slice through the stock market, they may be trying to slice through something else. So, around JK, everybody could feel the man is special, but nobody could get what he was talking about, because he refused to play the role of a guru, he refused to initiate anybody into anything, he refused to give any kind of method, any kind of process. He said it will anyway happen. It is true. Anyway it will happen. But maybe after 1,000,000 lifetimes. So if you are in a hurry, either you must have that kind of an intellect, which is rare, or you must be willing to use the other faculties that you have of body, energy, emotion, all these things. He went driving on one wheel of his car. He is good at it, but nobody else could get to do it. Fantastic human being. When he was there was a fragrance. When he's gone, only books, because there's no living process. So Khalil Gibran said about J. Krishnamurti, when I walked into the room, JK was sitting and Khalil Gibran went to meet him. He said, when I walked into the room, I walked into a wall of love. It just hit me in the face. So you would never associate JK with love. He's a loving man. That's not how he looks. He's like this. He definitely doesn't look loving, but he's very loving. His energies are absolutely compassionate, but his words are like knife. So, people felt something, but they couldn't figure what it is. They couldn't get a hold on it because he wouldn't give a hold. He said, if you hold it, you may get stuck with this, so don't hold. If there were millions of razor-sharp minds in the world, that would have been a fabulous way to do things. But in today's world, in the existing way the humanity is, the way people's intellects are entangled in a million things, that method is just not going to get anybody anywhere. It's a beautiful process, but there must be people who can digest it, isn't it? So, J. Krishnamurti was like a flower. His fragrance was felt when he was alive, and that's all. His words are good. If you want to kind of use it as an intellectual exercise to drop a few things, they could be useful, brilliant. His intellectual brilliance just comes out every moment of his life. He started a few schools which are wonderful schools, which are still on. I must tell you my association with him. When I went to this weekends for five Saturdays, Saturday afternoons, an hour and a half, that's my exposure to him. And one day he spoke about education. And it really gripped me. And it really twisted me inside out, because all the ideas, I had never thought of an alternative way of educating people. I was only thinking of how to dismantle all the education system in my mind. When he spoke about education, suddenly it struck me, there's another way to do this. So just this thought came to my mind. I was just maybe 17, 18, and I was living wild and I have dreams of running away somewhere. So I just thought, if at any time if a child comes under my control, I would like to put the child to this kind of education. So it just so happened when My daughter had to go to school. When she got admission in some of the best schools in Ooty, but then it just flashed me in my mind that, okay, there's a JK school, why don't I send her there? And she went to that school and she spent 8 years studying there. So just those 5 Saturday afternoons, an hour and a half, that much impact he had on me, that I handed over my daughter to his care in one way or the other.
You're right. Network security is important for any organization. You know, you should take this online ethics.
Are you ready for this? To cool a computer instead of using fans. And what are the performance advantages of modern methods? This video is sponsored introduced. Now the first job for this is to actually make a rail containing these magnets, which are of the neodymium variety as they are very strong, and they're just the right size to fit inside a length of acrylic tubing. As you can see here, the poles are orientated so that each magnet repels its neighbours, which is why they appear to be floating. To keep the distances consistent, however, I've made some 3D printed washers to go in between them, which keeps them spaced perfectly apart when they're all squeezed together by 2 end caps. With the rail completed, it's now time to make the stator, which will hopefully move itself along this rail by utilising electromagnets. For these, I've again used the 3D printer to make a small winding bobbin, allowing me to very quickly make some rough electromagnetic coils using some enamelled copper wire. When this coil is driven by a low frequency alternating current from an audio amplifier, it moves back and forth between each set of adjacent magnets, thanks to their opposing polarities, a bit like how a speaker works. When I let go, however, it just wildly flails around with no consistency, and we need to do something about this. As I'm basically making a 3-phase motor laid down flat, I've made 2 more coils and I'm going to drive them all with a 3-phase tone generator that generates 3 sine waves that are slightly out of phase with each other. And again, this signal is going to be amplified by audio amplifiers. Now amazingly, this does actually work, which is very exciting. But despite experimenting with various coil spacing distances and different frequencies from the 3-phase generator, the motion is somewhat juddery, slow and very weak, only just able to lift its own weight. It also consumes a lot of power even for this level of movement, and to be honest, I just lack the knowledge and experience required to even get a rough prototype like this working properly. So at this point I've decided to drop it and find an alternative method. I'd love to revisit it in the future, however, so if any of you have any knowledge on how to get it working, I'd love to hear your ideas. So with my original plan for movement now basically invalidated, it's back to the drawing board. But not for long, as I'm inspired by how well the magnets fit inside the acrylic tube, with a gap around them of only 0.05 of a millimetre. That's a super precise fit, and it's given me an idea. To test this idea out, I've ordered some computer water cooling components so that I can plumb into the acrylic tube and add inline 2 pumps and a reservoir. With it filled up with water, you can see that I've left a magnet inside the tube, and it fits loosely enough for gravity to cause it to slide down on its own, but tight enough for very little water to squeeze around it whilst it does this. When one of the pumps is powered up, the magnet of course gets pulled along by the water quickly and with considerable force. To get it to go in the other direction, I unfortunately can't reverse the polarity of the power given to the pump to reverse the flow, as they only work in one direction. So instead, the other pump, which is facing the opposite way to the first, gets powered up, reversing the flow of water and taking the magnet with it. This looks very promising, as in theory I should be able to use this magnet's motion to move the bellows system along, but the pumps annoyingly do have a 4-second startup delay before they begin pumping, which means that each change in direction would take far too long, so I need to work out another solution. Now I could use 4 solenoid valves to change the direction of flow, even from a single continually operating pump, but they operate with a very loud click, so aren't going to be suitable due to this noise, as it would be hard to reduce. Now, at this point, I think that this project might be going slightly off the rails, as my next idea is actually going to be attempting to build my own silent version of these solenoid valves. For this, I'm going to start by drilling a few holes in a shorter length of acrylic tube, and then sliding on some plastic washers so that I can make another set of electromagnets around the tube. This can then have one of the magnets inserted, and to prevent it from escaping, it can be locked inside by some silicone that acts as a very soft and quiet buffer. When power is applied to the coils, one will repel the magnet while the other will attract it, causing the magnet inside to move back and forth when the polarity of the power is flipped, blocking either set of holes but never both at the same time. This can now be mounted inside a cheap reservoir, and that's basically my silent DIY valve completed. The way this works is that the water is forced into the outer reservoir chamber by the pump, and then it can enter through whichever holes are open at any moment, meaning that the flow can either go one way or the other. To work properly in a loop, I've made 2 of them, and they're all connected together with some T-splitters. And lo and behold, with one single water pump operating continually in one direction, the flow affecting the magnet section of the loop can be reversed with the flick of a switch. Nice. So, with my method for movement finally sorted, it needs to be tested to see whether it's strong enough to move the bellows back and forth. So it's time to build an enclosure for it all. I'm going all in on this, so for the frame I've designed 4 panels on the computer and then cut them out of MDF sheets using a CNC router for precision. These have all the required holes and slots in them, which is quite a time saver. The large slots here are for the air to pass in and out of the unit through, and I'm going to soften their edges with some 3D printed curves and half dowel, which should reduce the chances of any turbulence noise. Now, after a quick paint, first with MDF primer followed by matte grey, I can now add some real ash hardwood edging so that they look rather neat. With the frame now screwed together, it's time to add one of the side panels, which is actually a toughened sheet of glass. I've chosen glass here so that we'll be able to see the bellows system in action, as it's getting pretty unique at this point and is probably worth showing off a little. We'll push holes and cutouts made in them using the CNC router. As you can see, these sheets are super bendy, but that's okay because the intention here is to use hexagonal PCB spacers to mount them together, resulting in a rigid but lightweight platform that looks visually very interesting. At the top and bottom you can see that I've added bearing mounts, which will allow the mover to slide along a set of rods for support, with each bearing having a little rubber grommet added to soften its contact as it rolls along. The rods that these sit on are actually solid glass ones, as they are rigid and extremely smooth, which should go a long way to reducing any noise generated by the rolling bearings. So thanks to the bearings, the mover can slide very smoothly and quietly back and forth, and it's very well balanced. Very cool. So, obviously I can move it manually back and forth, but I need it to move on its own. And this is where the magnet in the tube comes into play. As I insert the tube into the mover, you'll notice that it's got a ring of magnets in the centre. As the magnet in the tube approaches this ring, it is repelled by the ring of magnets, as the one in the tube is in the same orientation. Despite this, once it's actually forced within the ring's magnetic field, it suddenly snaps into place and becomes locked within this ring, despite not physically making contact with anything. With some plastic holders in place to keep the tube central, you can see that moving the ring takes the locked magnet with it, and the hope for this is for it to work in reverse when the magnet is pushed and pulled by the water. Speaking of which, after mounting my homemade valves, it's time to fill it up for a test run. Ready? start. Oh, oh, it's going. Come on. Okay, so it stopped at the other side. It moved. That's good. But I need to tweak the position of these switches perhaps, which by the way are reed switches, which are magnetic switches that get triggered by a tiny magnet built into the top of the mover, and when they are triggered they flip a relay, causing the mover to go in the opposite direction. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. I guess it's working, it's a bit clunky. One of the problems I'm facing here is that the movement is weak and slow, and it turns out that this is down to a slight inefficiency in my valve system, due to a small amount of water being able to get around the magnets. I did foresee this as a potential problem, but I had guessed wrongly that it wouldn't cause much of an issue. This inefficiency also means that it can't overcome the airlock system that I had devised, which had a goal to work in tandem with an external system to cause a constant flow of air rather than one that pushes and pulls. They're just too stiff to operate, and this had an additional side effect of causing a hooting noise as the air squeezes past the 2mm gap that's around the acrylic mover. The drawing board, or I give up. As the project is going to be dumb, DC fuel electric pump constantly start and stop, but they do so with a significant amount of force. The chances of centered, as it was basically rubbing along the tube, and this should hopefully increase the pressure that this thing can operate at, but also... Are you ready for this? Yes! Yes! Look at that! Look at that! Oh! Look at that! That is so cool! Finally! It's finally working! Wow! Look how smooth that is! Wow! I know I seem like I'm overreacting, but this has been a long process to get to this. Oh, feel the air movement! Oh, it's so quiet! I'm so happy with that. On close inspection, there's actually quite a lot of cool stuff going on here, which is worth looking at in more detail. Firstly, the most striking thing is how quickly the mover changes in direction. Which is the reason why it regains its pressable. So, it's time to see whether this can have any real-world use in replacing fans, and basically see how much air it can move Squarespace. From making your own online or domain tags, I don't have any proper equipment for it, so this is all I can do really. So I don't have any air valves on this, so the mover is going to push the air into the bag and then instantly pull. And now the same thing with a bank of fans. Surprisingly, these look more or less the same, but this is of course unrestricted airflow, so the real test will be when it's being pushed through some sort of resistance, for which I'm going to use dust filter fabric. And once it's stuck inside a box, it should simulate the airflow restriction of something like a long water cooling radiator or heatsink fins. It's a little bit crude, but it should work well for testing purposes. Now this fabric is actually quite resistive, so it's really the worst case scenario that this would ever encounter. And this, compared to the fans though, results in almost identical performance, and this does seem to indicate that it doesn't have any performance advantage over 4 140mm fans at full speed. But what if we focus on noise and test the sound levels? Personally, I find this less obnoxious than the fans at the equivalent air movement speed. Now I have to admit, I am slightly disappointed by those performance results. So I guess that's the reason why fans are a thing and bellows aren't. But hey, it had to be built to satisfy my curiosity, so I'm glad that I did. Now I still want to build this into a computer because of its sheer novelty. It'll be huge, like this is big already, and then with a computer on top it's going to be massive. But I just think it'd be so unique, and it would be the world's only bellows cooled PC, so that would be a cool thing to have around. Now, unfortunately, I can't fit that process into this video as it is getting quite long. Television. But make sure you press the subscribe button and the bell icon so Hey everyone, some time ago on the channel, it's still being used to 100 watts more than the previous card I tried this on, and that's a lot of power. So if this can keep this cool and quiet, then yes, it's worth doing. Kind of temperatures we get, and also what the f***'s sake, so you can see what's attributable to the microphone. Here is just the room tone with no computer on at all. First thing to do with that is remove this card chip in the middle here with bits of aluminium to these, which I'm holding together with some thermally conductive glue. This levels them off with the surrounding heat spreader, allowing me to mount some heat sinks directly on top to keep this area cool. So the last thing to do now is mount the fans in place, and once this is done it looks pretty ridiculous, in a good way as a hardware enthusiast. Now with that done, I think it's ready to try out. Look at that! Wow. Now that is a sight. Okay, so the benchmark's running at the moment, and the card is at 62 degrees Celsius, so it's significantly cooler than it was before. But here's the best bit. It is now making hardly any noise at all, because these fans are running at their slowest speed. And to do that I'm using a little fan controller down here. That each tower runs a stock cooler here. Now, coil whine results from the power delivery circuitry of the card and is affected by what the graphics card is rendering at any given moment. It may be possible to reduce this rather annoying sound by boxing in the offending components, but that's a video for another time. If any of you know an elegant solution for it, even if it requires soldering on some extra components, please let me know. It'll be the graphics card. So it would be great to see some sort of method.
Morning, boss. This is my office. We selected the ROG Strix RTX 2080 Ti graphics card for our test today because it full sandwich. So, now that everything... We're just going to put those aside for now though. More on that later. Now that that's done, let's take a closer look at our card before we start piecing it back together. We
hello,
actually
Bhai
got
Masoom.
really lucky with this particular card's design because most of the components that need cooling are covered by this heat spreader right here, which means that we don't need to go find a whack ton of little heat sinks for every IC that's soldered to the board. In fact, there's actually only one thermal pad on the stock cooler here, and that's for the row of VRMs right back here that we are going to need to actively cool. So to handle that, we went over to the workshop and machined this custom heatsink that we're going to attach to the PCB using some double-sided thermal adhesive tape. Now for a permanent installation, I would probably use a lighter heatsink for one thing and then thermal epoxy, but this will work just fine for our testing today. Now that the card's prepped, we're going to grab those standoffs that we put aside before, as well as the screws that we took out of the back of the card, and we are going to install the stand. Needs an... That was it? Wow, this thing's kind of massive. Now all we need to do is throw a couple of fans on. You know, the crazy part is it's not even that much heavier or even... There's a song about that, you know. For all of our tests, and while from a performance standpoint, there isn't a huge jump or anything, a few frames here or there, there are definite gains in the cooling department. Check this out. We're at 55 degrees. So the stock cooler's fans run in excess of 3,000 RPM, while our tower cooler maxed out at just 30% of that. You can barely hear the time. We've also saved a whack of money.
To allow big coolers.
We saved $85 by literally clicking twice and installing a free browser add-on. Honey, anytime you check...
Rusty Craft is the pizza, yeah. But you and...
Yeah, you get way too much. Class it about. I am telling you guys are going to enjoy this one, okay? I'm going to cover all the nasty class 1000 in general. That would mean the world, because the ending was kind of sick. Please try this class at about. I am telling you guys are going to enjoy this one, okay? I'm going to cover all the nasty class setups in the beginning of the Warzone videos that I put out on my channel, and then we'll get into the funky ones like the freaking mini Uzi and the pistol wins and stuff like that. But I want to cover the nasty class setups to begin with, okay? If you guys are brand new to this channel, because I know we have a lot of brand new viewers to this channel right now, make
Check your gear and weapons. Planes are making ready for deployment. Playtime's over, mate. You're going to the war zone. Plunder. Secure cash by completing contracts, looting, or eliminating targets. Does anyone need this? Enemy soldier incoming. Enemy soldier incoming. Supply box located. Move to secure.
Oh, no recoil. Nice bro. What the fuck is recoil in this thing, dude?
Enemy personal radar in the air. Device spotted. Contract update. New objective identified. Enemy personal radar in the air. Primary LZs are marked. Extract is standing by. Contract updated. New objective identified. Device spotted. Primary objective accomplished. All supply boxes down. Enemy personal radar in the air. All right, soldier. Mark a drop point for your team. Drop point set. Drop point set. Copy. Helo is inbound. Deposit. Bag is set. Bird is ready for deposit. Need a driver. Cargo is secured and exiting the AO. Cargo is secure at base. online. Enemy soldier incoming. Moving. I'm back online. Enemy soldier incoming. Enemy soldier incoming. Enemy soldier incoming. Be advised, enemy attack chopper incoming. Take it down. Cash. Back online. Enemy soldier incoming.
ADS is hard, boy.
Enemy soldier incoming. Enemy personal radar in the air.
can I test my weapons?
Back online.
Load out. What is the listing preference to get this thing?
Enemy soldier incoming. Enemy dropping into the air.
Every fucking thing is a weapon, what the fuck, bro? What the fuck?
Back online. Back online. Enemy soldier incoming. Enemy soldier incoming. Enemy soldier incoming.
Lol.